One of the great automotive success stories of the 1990s was the sport utility vehicle. Despite occasional criticism for their poor gas mileage, truck-like handling, and questionable safety record, SUVs remained among the best-selling vehicles well into the 21st century. The car companies spend millions trying to understand exactly why buyers like these behemoths, although they and everyone else know at least some of the reasons. They carry a lot, they're versatile, and their bulk lends a sense of security and invulnerability to the hazards of routine driving. The same can be said of a certain category of airplane, which is generally known as the utility segment. These are airplanes that you can haul anything you can stuff into them, aren't fussy about weight and balance, and plod along at speeds in the 140 to 150 knot range. Near the top of anyone's shortlist of aircraft SUVs is the Cessna 206. A beefy, big single with a reputation for reliability and suitability for heavy hauling into and out of runways that would stop other airplanes cold. Through its 4 decades of existence, the 206 has remained a popular choice for pilots with large families or businesses that require heavy hauling. They're also a favorite for some bush operators and for skydiving operations. Along with every other single Cessna made, the 206 went out of production in 1986. But shortly after, it revived piston production with the 1997 Skyhawk. Cessna brought back the 206 for the 1998 model year. It has proven to be a strong seller and is probably the most profitable of any of the Cessna singles. Looking at the Cessna 206, what do we have here? I see a classic beauty, high-wing, single-engine aircraft design. Its exterior is characterized by its all-metal construction, which gives the aircraft a rugged and durable appearance. The fuselage is a semi-monocoque design, which provides a strong and stiff structure while also keeping the weight of the aircraft to a minimum. The wings of the Cessna 206 are mounted high on the fuselage and feature a constant chord design. The wings are straight on the leading edge, with huge flaps on the trailing edge. The tail section of the Cessna 206 features a horizontal stabilizer with a single vertical fin and rudder. The landing gear of the Cessna 206 is a tricycle design with a nose wheel and 2 main wheels. The landing gear is built to withstand the rigors of rough landing strips and bush flying and is equipped with large, durable tires. The aircraft also features a steerable nose wheel, which is obviously better than differential braking. Looking inside, the Cessna 206 has a spacious and comfortable interior designed to accommodate up to 6 passengers. The cabin is relatively wide and features large windows, which provide plenty of natural light and good visibility, except over the nose and landing attitude. The seats are made of durable materials and are designed to provide good comfort and support during flight. The cockpit of the Cessna 206 is well appointed and features a variety of modern avionics, including GPS and autopilot. The instrument panel is designed for easy navigation and features a variety of gauges and displays that provide critical flight information to the pilot. There is ample storage for luggage and cargo, with a large baggage compartment located in the rear of the cabin. The baggage compartment is accessible from the inside of the cabin, which makes it easy to load and unload luggage and cargo. The aircraft also features a number of cup holders and storage compartments throughout the cabin, which provide additional storage space for small items. The Cessna 206 Stationair is typically powered by a 300-horsepower Lycoming IO 540 AC-1A engine, which is a 6-cylinder, air-cooled, horizontally opposed engine. Speedy has never been attached to the 206's name. One has to wonder about the name, Stationair. It sounds too much like stationary in air, not a great marketing handle. The non-turbo Stationair has a service ceiling of 16,000 feet and at 6,500 feet cruises at 143 knots at 75% power, drinking about 16 gallons per hour. It's no surprise that the turbo model goes a little faster. At 20,000 feet, Cessna advertises 164 knots, true at 75% power. While this isn't bad for a draggy, fixed-gear single, it's 20 knots slower than the retractable Saratoga 2 TC. The service ceiling is 27,000 feet, where ATC will be less than thrilled to have you park as the Malibus pass over at 200 knots. The sea level climb rate is 1,050 feet per minute, although don't expect that all the way to 27,000 feet. Full power climb is 39 inches at 2,500 RPM, burning 34 gallons per hour. Normal climbing at 30 inches and 2,400 RPM lowers the burn to 24 gallons per hour. Once at cruise, burn rates drop to 18 gallons per hour at 75% power. Handling matches the aircraft's size. Pilots who enter the stationaire after climbing the Cessna model ladder may find the aircraft is just more of the same, only heavier, although the ailerons are notably responsive, even at low speeds. Few owners seem to mind about the fairly heavy controls. Snappy handling is not why they bought the airplane. This is not without its benefits, though. It makes the stationaire an excellent IFR platform, stable and rock solid. It also makes for a relatively smooth ride in turbulence. Another benefit is that the stationaire is reluctant to stall. Pitch forces are fairly heavy to begin with. Compounding this is the generally nose-heavy loading of the airplane. Since the CG envelope is so long and most everyone wants to sit up front, the CG is often at or near its forward limit. Also, with power on, the deck angle required for its wings level stall is alarming. Put it all together, and the stationaire is not generally a willing participant in stalls. If you do stall the airplane, the behavior is pure Cessna. There's a definite brake, and it will roll off if the ball is not centered. Recovery requires lowering the nose by at least relaxing back the pressure. When heavy, especially with full flaps, it may take some altitude before you can establish a positive rate of climb. A drawback of the forward CG tendency is a proclivity for inexperienced 206 pilots to arrive nose first during landing, especially at light weights. It takes a hefty pull on the yoke to flare properly. Thus, stationaires are no strangers to hard, nose-first landings that sometimes damage the aircraft. In the 207, the nose baggage compartment can simply add to the nose heaviness. However, using less than full flaps for landing, say only 20 degrees, can ease the control forces required to flare. Also, as one reader aptly put it, this is what trim was invented for. Use it. When loaded toward the aft CG limit, the equation changes significantly. It doesn't take nearly as much effort to flare to land. A pilot who isn't ready for the lighter control forces can get surprised at how easy it is to get the nose up. The 206 can feel like two different airplanes when it is light with a forward CG versus at gross weight and a mid to aft CG loading. We strongly recommend that any checkout in a 206 include time with the airplane loaded light and forward in heavy and aft. Part of that should be what it takes to get to the runway when heavy, with full flaps and slow. Be prepared to put the throttle to the stop. Like most Cessna singles, the 206 does pretty well in short, soft, rough field operations, a big factor in the purchase decision for many of our respondents. Early models had 40 degrees of flap, which helped tremendously for short arrivals. However, the airplane just won't climb with that much aluminum hanging out in the breeze. Cessna later limited flap travel to 30 degrees. Speaking of maintenance, simplicity is a good thing and helps keep maintenance costs down. But on the other hand, stationaires are working airplanes by and large, and wear and tear can easily turn the tide in the other direction. Most owners have seen problems with the tail, mostly corrosion caused by the foam-filled elevator and trim tab getting soaked with water and pulling off rivets, screws, and nuts, a concern if the airplane was ever on floats. Some of the brackets in the tail can crack. There have also been some instances of cracking doorposts, though these problems have not proven to be a safety issue. Speaking of the negative sides of the 206, despite that the frequency of runway loss of control accidents was relatively low at 20% because the airplane has effective controls and good manners on the ground. However, a 206 is not easy to land well and changes personality dramatically with different loadings. With the CG forward, it takes dedication and determination to get the nose up to landing altitude. Light, the airplane will float a surprisingly long way if the pilot has tacked on any extra speed on final. That may have played a role in the 5 overshot landing events. Loaded and slow, a stationaire can develop a sink rate approximating a dropped sewer cover. It has the power to recover, but it has to be applied. It has poor visibility over the nose and landing altitude. Stalls accounted for only 5 accidents, and they were on short final or shortly after takeoff. One was from a slush-covered runway from which the pilot managed to pry the overloaded 206, but then stalled it trying to avoid obstacles. 206s are routinely overloaded, sometimes to an eye-watering degree, but it won't carry everything you can shove in the doors. One stall after takeoff crash involved an airplane that was some 800 pounds over gross. If you are in the market for a 206, it is available in several different variants, each of which is designed for a specific purpose or application. Some of the most notable variants include Cessna 206 Stationaire, which is the standard model of the Cessna 206, and is the most widely produced variant of the aircraft. It is a 6-seat, high-wing, single-engine aircraft that is commonly used for personal and business travel, as well as for air taxi and bush flying operations. The Cessna T206 Turbo Stationaire is another great option. Powered by a turbocharged engine, which provides increased performance and higher altitude capabilities. It is ideal for pilots and operators who need to fly at higher altitudes or in hot and high conditions. The Cessna U206 Super Skywagon is a utility-focused variant that is commonly used for aerial photography, wildlife survey, and skydiving operations. It features a reinforced fuselage and landing gear, which allows it to operate from rough landing strips and unimproved surfaces. The Cessna Tu-206 Turbo Skywagon, well, as the name implies, is the U-206 with a turbocharged engine. Then there is the Cessna P-206 Super Skylane, which is an upgraded version of the Cessna 206 Stationaire, which features improved performance and avionics. It is designed for personal and business travel and is powered by a more powerful engine. The 206 Cessna succeeded in catering to pilots who simply need more out of a piston single. More room, more useful load, more seats, more fuel. And it doesn't just work for private operators. Part 135 companies might be drawn to it as a small freighter that is rugged, economical, and can get in and out of remote airstrips while carrying a big payload. Designing such an airplane is a challenge because optimizing for speed hurts payload. A large, comfortable cabin may mean stodgy performance and no baggage capability. Rumor has it that trying to find an optimum compromise between speed, payload, range, and comfort has driven more than one aeronautical engineer around the bend. Many airplanes that have been advertised as do-it-all machines just aren't. But the poster child exception is an airplane such as the Cessna 206, which carries the SUV, minivan, pickup concept to a capable conclusion.